The crystal chandelier above our parents' dining table cast perfect light on my brother's smug face. Christmas dinner 2023. 47 relatives packed into the house, and Marcus had chosen this moment for his grand announcement. "I have something to share with everyone," Marcus said, standing up with his wine glass. His wife Emma squeezed his hand supportively. "Something we've all been wondering about for years." My mother's face lit up. My father leaned forward. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone went silent. I kept my expression neutral, fork paused halfway to my mouth. "I hired private investigators," Marcus announced, pulling an envelope from his jacket pocket. "Professional ones. Former FBI. Cost me $8,000, but it was worth every penny." Gasps around the table. Aunt Patricia clutched her pearls. Uncle Tom set down his drink. "Everyone will see you're a liar, Maya," Marcus said, looking directly at me. "No more pretending. No more fake stories about your company. The truth comes out today." My cousin Jennifer whispered loudly enough for half the table to hear. "Finally. I always knew something was off." $8,000 to expose what we all suspected, Marcus continued, his voice gaining confidence. "She's been lying to this family for 3 years. Lying about her job, her income, her entire life." I set my fork down carefully. Took a sip of water. The glass didn't shake in my hand. "Noted," I replied calmly. Marcus's smile widened. He thought my quietness was defeat. He'd always thought that. "The investigator is here," Marcus said, gesturing toward the living room. I invited him to present his findings in person. Because this family deserves the truth. My mother was already nodding. "We've been so worried about you, Maya. Living in that expensive apartment, driving that car. We thought maybe you were in trouble. Maybe doing something illegal. Or married to someone rich and hiding it," Aunt Patricia added. "You never talk about your personal life." "Because she doesn't have one," Marcus said. "Because she's been living a fantasy." The investigator walked in. Mid-50s, gray hair, sharp suit. Former FBI, Marcus had said. The man carried a leather portfolio and had the bearing of someone who'd spent decades dealing with liars. "Mr. Chin," Marcus said warmly, shaking his hand. "Please share what you found." Mr. Chen's expression was professionally neutral. He opened his portfolio and pulled out 2 folders. One blue, one red. That detail should have warned Marcus. 2 folders. "I conducted a comprehensive investigation as requested," Mr. Chin began, his voice carrying the weight of authority. 60 days of surveillance, background checks, financial records analysis, employment verification and asset documentation. The room was so quiet I could hear my cousin's Apple Watch buzzing. "Let me start with the subject of the investigation," Mr. Chin said, opening the blue folder. "Ms. Maya Chin, age 31. Marcus leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, satisfaction radiating from him like heat. Employment status: Chief Executive Officer and founder of TechVision Solutions, incorporated in Delaware in January 2020. My mother's fork clattered against her plate. Company valuation as of last funding round in October 2023, $95 million. Uncle Tom choked on his wine. Annual revenue: approximately $28 million. Employee count: 147 across 3 offices, San Francisco, Austin, and Boston. Mr. Chin pulled out documentation. Forbes featured Ms. Chin in their 30 under 30-foot list for enterprise technology in March 2023. She holds 2 patents related to cloud-based data analytics. Her personal annual compensation package is valued at approximately $2.4 million. The silence in that room was absolute. Her apartment is owned, not rented. Mortgage paid in full in 2022. The vehicle is a leased 2023 Tesla Model S. Business expense. Personal net worth, conservative estimate, $14 million. My father had gone completely white. Ms. Chin maintains accounts at 3 major financial institutions. All transactions verified as legitimate business and personal expenses. No debt beyond standard business credit lines, all current. Credit score: 815. Marcus's face had started to change color. From smug satisfaction to confusion to something approaching panic. Tax returns for the past 3 years show full compliance with federal and state regulations. charitable donations totaling over $300,000 to various organizations. She serves on 2 nonprofit boards. Mr. Chen closed the blue folder. Set it aside. Then he picked up the red folder. As per my professional protocol, Mr. Chen said, his tone shifting slightly, when conducting an investigation involving family members with access to shared financial resources, I always examine all parties who might have motive to obscure or project financial impropriety. Marcus sat up straighter. What? I investigated the person who hired me, Mr. Chen said simply. Mr. Marcus Chen. Emma's hand flew to her mouth. Mr. Chen serves as Chief Financial Officer of Chen Family Imports, the family business established by your grandfather in 1987. Current annual revenue approximately $12 million. My father nodded slowly, not understanding where this was going yet. In the course of my investigation, I discovered irregularities in the company financial records dating back 37 months. Now wait just a... Marcus started to stand. Unauthorized wire transfers from the business operating account to a personal account held solely by Mr. Marcus Chen at Pacific Trust Bank. Account number ending in 7742. My brother had gone from red to gray. Total transferred over this 37-month period, $210,473. Someone dropped a glass in the kitchen. Shattered. The transfers were disguised as vendor payments to shell companies that don't actually provide services. 3 different company names, all registered to P.O. boxes, all connected to Mr. Chen's personal email address. Mr. Chen pulled out spreadsheets, bank statements, corporate filing documents. I verified this information with the business accountant, who was not aware these companies were fraudulent. The paperwork was sufficiently sophisticated to pass casual review. My father stood up, his chair scraping loudly against hardwood. Marcus. Dad, I can explain. $210,000? My mother's voice was barely a whisper. It's not what it looks like, Marcus said, his confident demeanor crumbling. I was going to pay it back. It was just loans to myself. I was going to. Loans require authorization, Mr. Chen said calmly. These were unauthorized transfers. Legally, this constitutes embezzlement. I pulled out my phone. The movement was casual, unhurried. I'd been expecting something like this, though not quite this dramatic. I opened my text messages and found Robert Nakamura, the family business attorney who'd been with us for 15 years. Me. Robert, you'll want to see the PI report from tonight's dinner. Marcus hired an investigator who found $210,000 in unauthorized transfers from the family business. Documentation is comprehensive. Can you come to the house? I hit send. My father was still standing, staring at Marcus like he'd never seen him before. 37 months. Over 3 years you've been stealing from your own family. I wasn't stealing. I just needed. The house was expensive. Emma wanted the renovations, the kids' private school. We all have expenses. Uncle Tom shouted. You don't steal from the family business. Emma had tears streaming down her face. Marcus, you told me we could afford those things. You said you got a bonus. You said. I was going to pay it back, Marcus repeated, but his voice had no conviction anymore. My phone buzzed. Robert, on my way. 15 minutes out. Don't let him leave. I set my phone face down on the table. Mr. Chen was still standing at the head of the table, portfolio open, professional and unshakable. I have copies of all documentation for the family's legal representatives. My investigation was thorough and will stand up to any scrutiny. You were supposed to investigate her. Marcus pointed at me, his voice breaking. Not me. I hired you to prove she was lying. You hired me to investigate your sister's finances, Mr. Chen corrected. I did that. I also fulfilled my professional and ethical obligation to report financial crimes when I discover them in the course of my work. Marcus turned to me, and for the first time in my life I saw my older brother look genuinely afraid. You knew, he said. Somehow you knew. I shook my head. I didn't know about the embezzlement. I knew you were struggling financially. Emma's Instagram made that obvious. The house, the cars, the vacations. The private school that costs $40,000 a year per kid. Your CFO's salary doesn't support that lifestyle. So you just, what? Let me hire an investigator. You made your choice, I said calmly. You spent $8,000 trying to humiliate me in front of the entire family. You thought I was lying, cheating, pretending. You never once just asked me about my life. Because you never told us anything, my mother said, but her voice was weak now. I tried, I said quietly. 3 years ago when I started my company, I invited everyone to the launch party. Remember? Silence. Marcus said it was probably a pyramid scheme. Aunt Patricia said I was too young to run a real business. Dad said I should focus on getting married instead of playing entrepreneur. My father's face crumpled. So I stopped sharing. I built my company quietly. I succeeded quietly. And when you all whispered about how I was probably lying about my job, probably in debt, probably doing something shameful, I let you think what you wanted. My mother started. I bought this house, I said, gesturing around us. 2 years ago. Did you know that? I bought it and let you keep living here. The deed is in my name. I paid off the mortgage that was drowning you after Dad's business downturn. My father grabbed the edge of the table. I paid for Jennifer's college tuition last year when Uncle Tom's restaurant was failing. $38,000. Anonymous donation, supposedly from the Alumni Association. Jennifer's face went white. I paid Marcus's hospital bills when his son needed that emergency surgery. $42,000 that his insurance didn't cover. The hospital listed it as charity care. Emma made it sound like she'd been punched. I helped because you're my family. I helped quietly because I didn't need credit or thanks. I just wanted you all to be okay. The silence now was different. Heavier. But you never stopped treating me like I was the family disappointment, I continued. The weird one. The liar. The one who must be doing something wrong because I didn't follow Marcus's path. My brother. The golden child, the one who'd done everything right, the one who got the business degree and the CFO position and the parents' constant approval, was crying now. I'm sorry, he whispered. Maya, I'm so sorry. You spent $8,000 trying to destroy my reputation, I said. To prove I was a fraud. To humiliate me in front of everyone who matters to me. I know. I was jealous. You were always smarter than me, always more capable, and when you started succeeding I couldn't stand it. I thought if I could prove you were lying, prove you were actually failing like I was. Like you were. My mother's voice cracked. Marcus, we gave you the CFO position. We trusted you. And I failed. Marcus shouted. I failed, okay? I'm not good at it. I make mistakes. The business has been losing money for 2 years and I didn't know how to fix it. I kept taking money to cover my own life because I couldn't admit I was drowning. The doorbell rang. I stood up. That'll be Robert. My phone had been buzzing with messages. I glanced at the screen as I walked to the door. Robert here. Brought Sarah from our litigation team. This is serious. Robert. We'll need to discuss criminal charges versus civil resolution. Robert. Your father needs to make some hard decisions tonight. I opened the door. Robert Nakamura stood there with Sarah Chin. No relation. One of the best litigation attorneys in the state. Both carrying briefcases, both looking professionally grim. Hiya, Robert said gently. Are your parents here? Everyone's here, I said. It's been quite a Christmas dinner. I led them to the dining room. The tableau hadn't changed much. Marcus still crying. Emma holding their kids who'd been pulled from the television room and were confused and scared. My parents looking 10 years older than they had an hour ago. Mr. Chin, the investigator, still standing calmly with his documentation. Mr. and Mrs. Chin, Robert said to my parents. I'm sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. But we need to discuss the findings regarding Marcus's activities with the family business. My father nodded numbly. The evidence appears comprehensive, Robert continued. Wire fraud, embezzlement, falsification of business records. These are serious criminal charges. Criminal. Emma whispered. He'd go to prison? Potentially, Sarah said. Though there are other options. Restitution, civil penalties, restructuring of business oversight. But Marcus needs legal representation immediately. This conversation shouldn't continue without his attorney present. Marcus looked at me. Are you going to press charges? It's not my decision, I said. It's Dad's. It's his business. My father sat down heavily. He looked at Marcus. His son, his chosen successor, the one he'd groomed to take over the family legacy. I don't know, he said finally. I don't know what to do. We'll need a full forensic audit, Robert said. Every account, every transaction for the past 5 years. We need to know the full extent of the damage. 5 years, my mother gasped. Standard practice, Sarah said gently, to ensure there aren't additional issues. There aren't, Marcus said quickly. Just the 37 months. Just the 210. I swear. We'll verify that, Robert said. I returned to my seat. My food was cold now. I pushed the plate away. Aunt Patricia spoke for the first time since the revelation. Maya, you own this house? Yes. And you paid for Jennifer's school? Yes. And Marcus's medical bills? Yes. She looked at her plate. I called you a trust fund baby last Thanksgiving. Said you were probably living off your parents' money. I remember. I'm sorry. Are there others? My mother asked me. Other times you helped that we didn't know about? Does it matter now? Yes, she said firmly. Yes, it matters. Because I need to understand how badly we failed you. How badly I failed you. I took a breath. Uncle Tom's Restaurant. I'm the silent investor who provided the expansion capital. $200,000. Cousin Beth's wedding. I paid for the venue when her fiancé's family backed out. $35,000. Dad's business downturn in 2021. I bought your inventory that wasn't moving. $120,000. Listed as a bulk buyer from overseas so you wouldn't know. My father made a sound I'd never heard from him before. Something between a sob and a gasp. Why? My mother asked. Why do all this in secret? Because every time I tried to do something openly, you questioned it. Doubted it. Treated me like I was being irresponsible or showing off or lying. So you let us think you were struggling? Uncle Tom said. Let us pity you? I let you think what you wanted to think, I corrected. I couldn't control your assumptions. I could only control my actions. Marcus had his head in his hands. I destroyed everything. The family business, my marriage, my reputation. All because I was jealous of my little sister. You destroyed it because you stole, Sarah said bluntly. Jealousy doesn't excuse embezzlement. I know. Robert was typing on his tablet. We need to make some immediate decisions. First, Marcus needs to be suspended from all financial duties at the business, effective immediately. Second, we need to secure all accounts and records. Third, we need to decide whether to report this to law enforcement or handle it privately. What happens if we handle it privately? My father asked. Full restitution, probably at a payment plan Marcus can actually afford. Permanent removal from any financial management role. Possibly transferring some personal assets. The house, cars. Monitoring and oversight. Marcus signs away certain rights. The business survives, the family name stays relatively clean. And if we report it? Criminal investigation. Possible prison time. Public scandal. The business will suffer regardless. But justice is served through the legal system. My father looked at me. What do you think? Why are you asking me? Because apparently you're the only one in this family with any sense, he said, his voice breaking. You've been taking care of all of us for years, and we've been treating you like you were the problem. I looked at Marcus. Really looked at him. My brother who used to help me with homework. Who taught me to ride a bike. Who'd also made my teenage years hell when I didn't fit his idea of what a little sister should be. I think, I said slowly, that Marcus needs help. Professional help. Therapy. Financial counseling. He's clearly been in crisis and made terrible decisions because of it. Marcus looked up, hope flickering in his eyes. But I also think he needs real consequences, I continued. Not a slap on the wrist. Real accountability. Because if he doesn't face what he's done, he'll never actually change. What does that mean? Emma asked quietly. It means he makes full restitution even if it takes 10 years. It means he loses his position at the company. It means he's honest with his family about his financial situation and stops living beyond his means. It means he actually does the work to become someone trustworthy again. I looked at my father. And it means the rest of this family stops pretending. Stops keeping up appearances. Stops judging each other based on who has the biggest house or the fanciest car or the most impressive job title. My mother was crying now. We did that to you. We made you feel like you had to prove yourself every single day. Yes. I'm so sorry, Maya. I know. Robert cleared his throat. I need decisions tonight. At least preliminary ones. Mr. Chen, what do you want to do about Marcus's position? My father looked at his son. You're suspended effective immediately. We'll discuss permanent arrangements after the audit. Marcus nodded, unable to speak. And the restitution? Sarah asked. We'll handle it privately, my father said. But Marcus, you're signing over the house. Your cars. Whatever it takes to start paying back what you stole. The kids, Emma started. We'll adjust, my father said firmly. They'll learn that actions have consequences. They'll learn that you don't steal from family. They'll learn to live within their means. Robert nodded approvingly. I'll draft the necessary documents. We'll need meetings this week to go over everything in detail. Mr. Chin, the investigator who'd started all this, spoke up. My invoice will be sent to Mr. Marcus Chin as agreed. $8,000 for services rendered. Marcus laughed bitterly. $8,000 to destroy my own life. Best investment I ever made. Worst, I corrected. The best investment would have been asking me to lunch 3 years ago and actually listening when I talked about my company. He nodded, tears still falling. You're right. You're absolutely right. The dinner broke up after that. Relatives left quickly, awkwardly, not sure what to say. Some hugged me on the way out. Aunt Patricia squeezed my hand. Uncle Tom whispered, "Thank you for the restaurant money." By 9 p.m. it was just my parents, Marcus and Emma and their kids, Robert and Sarah packing up their briefcases, and me. Maya, my father said as I was getting ready to leave. Can we talk? Just the family. I nodded. Robert and Sarah excused themselves. Marcus's kids were put to bed in the upstairs guest room. The 5 of us sat in the living room. The same living room where I'd played as a child. Where Marcus had always been the golden one and I'd been the quiet, strange daughter who liked computers more than people. I don't know how to fix this, my father said. I don't know how to fix what we broke. You can't, I said simply. You can only move forward differently. Will you stay involved with the family business? He asked. Will you help us rebuild? I thought about that. I'll consult. I'll advise. But I won't take over. I have my own company to run. We don't deserve your help. Probably not, I agreed. But I'm not helping because you deserve it. I'm helping because it's the right thing to do. And because somewhere under all the disappointment and judgment, you're still my parents. My mother reached for my hand. I let her take it. I want to know about your life, she said. Really know. Not just the business success. Everything. What you love. What scares you. What makes you happy. It might take a while, I said. We have 3 years of not talking to make up for. We have time, she said. I stayed for another hour. We talked. Really talked. About my company, my vision, my struggles and victories. About the loneliness of success when your family thinks you're lying. About the weight of helping people who never acknowledge the help. Marcus mostly listened. He'd apologize again, I knew. Many times. But tonight he just sat there, broken and humbled, finally understanding what he'd lost. Around midnight I drove home to my apartment. My paid-off apartment, in my Tesla. I texted Robert an update, confirmed meetings for the week ahead and checked my work emails. My phone buzzed with a message from Mr. Chin, the investigator. Mr. Chin. For what it's worth, Ms. Chin, I've been doing this job for 23 years. Most people in your position would have gloated. You showed remarkable restraint and grace. I smiled at that. Me, thank you. Send me the full report? I might frame it. Mr. Chin, already done. Merry Christmas, Ms. Chin. You've got a hell of a family. Me, don't I know it? I poured myself a glass of wine and stood at my floor-to-ceiling windows, looking out at the city lights. Tomorrow I'd go back to work. Back to running my $95 million company. Back to the life I'd built quietly, competently, without needing my family's approval. But tonight, for the first time in 3 years, I felt like maybe, just maybe, that approval might actually come. Not because I'd proved anything. But because they'd finally stopped assuming I hadn't. My phone buzzed one last time. A text from Marcus. Marcus, I know this doesn't fix anything. But I'm proud of you. I should have said that 3 years ago. I'm saying it now. I'm proud of you, Maya. I read it twice. Then I typed back. Me start being someone worth being proud of. Then we'll talk. And I meant it. Because that's what family does. We hold each other accountable. We demand better. We don't accept comfortable lies or convenient excuses. And sometimes, when someone spends $8,000 trying to prove you're a fraud, the universe has a funny way of showing them who the real fraud was all along.